Hi everyone, welcome to today's video, Intro to Vinyasa Yoga. I am super excited to do this because I personally love teaching Vinyasa Yoga. It is a very flow-based movement. Oftentimes though, beginners yoga is kind of grouped in one big lump. And in reality, yoga has so many different styles that we could really benefit from breaking down each of these different styles into the very basics so that we're more comfortable then moving into that particular way of doing yoga. So for today, I'm going to be talking through some of the most fundamental and functional poses of the Vinyasa practice. This is just going to kind of get our bodies accustomed to moving in this new way. Take rest as you need. You can take that as much as you need in child's pose, which is actually where we are going to start. So just coming right onto our mats, bringing our big toes together. Now it's up to you. If you have a lot of tension or if you're rather tight through the lower back region, it might feel good to keep your knees all the way together. If you can, just try and separate them a little bit or maybe a lot if you do have a lot of openness. And then you're just going to slowly walk your hands forward on your mat. We're going to rest our forehead down to the earth, and if this is not quite possible, I do encourage you to find a resting place for the head. So that could be onto your stacked hands, it could be onto a yoga block, or maybe you have a cushion, a pillow. You can take anything you need to create this extra little bit of a lift to bring your mat closer to you. Super important in our practice. Let's go ahead and connect into the breath. So pranayama, the control of the breath. We're going to start by taking a really big inhale through the nose. And then you're going to open the mouth. Let this be audible, dramatic sigh out. And another one just like this. Inhale. And an open mouth exhale. Sealing your lips, switching over into our Ujjayi style of breath. We're breathing in and out just through the nose. And this can definitely feel a little bit constricting to start, but just stay with it. Trust in the breath and you'll start to develop a really strong rhythm and pace. Then just noticing what's going on throughout your physical self, all the way from the fingers to the toes. If you're feeling any tightness through the lower back, just think of sending the breath into that area, finding some release. Let your hips drop a little bit further towards your heels, the heart moving closer towards your mat. We're just going to take one more big breath in here and a breath out. You're slowly going to make your way into a tabletop position, all fours. And as we begin to move, know that you can return to that child's pose at any time you need. It's kind of like your home base to check back in with the breath, the body, how you're feeling mentally. So just know it's available. And as you stack your shoulders above your wrists, hips above your knees, really press into the palms of your hands and your shins. Make sure you're not locking out through the elbows, just a micro bend here. Let's take a cow pose. So you're going to drop your belly a lot. Start to lift through the heart, tilt your chin all the way up to the ceiling. So a big curve in the spine. And then cat pose, chin tucks to the chest. You round through the spine and then big press away from your mat. Now connect your breath. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the heart, really open up. And then exhale to your cat, round it out through the spine. One more round just like that. Big breath in. And your breath out. Now just come back to all fours. We're not going to spend a lot of time here because it is a very challenging pose, especially when you're just getting started. But from here, we're coming directly into down dog. So you're going to tuck your toes under. You're starting to lift the knees away from the mat. And then the goal here is to press the hips, the heart, the heels all the way towards the back edge of your mat. Now, if you're really tight through the hamstrings, you might need to bend your knees a lot. The heels can be elevated from the mat. That's totally okay. Think of pressing into your palms, continuing to send the chest a little bit further behind you. Maybe over time, you feel the heels mounting a little bit closer to the mat, a little more lift through the hips, stretch through the backs of the knees. Notice here if you're holding your breath, are you waiting for what's next to exit this position? See if you can take a really deep breath in through the nose. Keep it through the nose, just exhale it out. Awesome, let's begin our exit out of this. We're just coming into a ragdoll position, top of our mat. So you're gonna think of walking the feet up towards your hands. Now, if you're a little bit stuck along the way, you might need to kind of walk your hands back as well, just slowly moving into this, bending your knees along the way. And as you land, we're coming into a hip width distance stance. And again, if the hamstrings are tight, this might be a rather large bend into the knees, that's totally fine. Check in with your hip width distance stance by creating 2 fists, connect them together, and then place them right in between your feet. That's the width that you want. So a lot of times it's a little bit smaller than we think. Then from here, we're just dropping the head down. You're gonna cup for opposite elbows and just let your upper body hang nice and heavy. And if it feels nice here, you can give a little sway from side to side. Maybe you pause and center and kind of pump your chest to the thighs. Give a little shake of your head. Then just feeling the awareness right into the hips. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, envision that breath just washing its way through the body. So from the hips all the way through the spine, towards the upper back, the head, the neck. Just releasing all of that tension and eventually letting your fingertips fall to the mat. Toe heel your feet together. So the big toes will touch. There'll be a little space in between your heels. And then as if somebody was picking you up from your belly button, you're slowly going to roll up through the spine. Now you're going to think of stacking the body along the way. So the hips are right above the heels, coming through the rib cage, stacks on top, the shoulders, eventually the crown of the head, and you'll sweep the arms overhead for a strong mountain pose. This is called Tadasana, reaching up, big breath in, and then hands to heart center with your exhale. And let's just hold here, really press the palms together, take a big inhale. Go ahead and sigh this one out, open the mouth, exhale. Awesome. From here, we're just going to reach the arms right back up, take a big inhale, think a little back bend, so leaning back, look up. And then with your exhale, fold all the way down to the mat. So soften the knees along the way. And as you land the fingertips down to the mat, we're taking a halfway lift. So pull the palms onto your shins and then think of creating one long line from the crown of your head all the way to your tailbone. So almost this L shape through the body. And then fold the body right back down, release. We're gonna bend into the knees, coming into a runner's lunge. Step your left foot back along the mat. Now if you get stuck along the way, you might need to kind of scooch those left toes further behind. And then once you find your runner's lunge, drop the knee down to the mat, untuck the toes. And let's find Anjali Asana. So this right here, you can stay in your low lunge with the fingers down. If you're feeling pretty good here, you might kind of crawl the hands onto that right thigh. Now as you do this, you're thinking of sending those hips forward towards your right heel, finding a nice stretch into this hip flexor. Notice if your upper body is leaning forward, think stacking the spine. Now if you're feeling super strong here, go ahead and reach the arms up and overhead. So big reach through those fingertips. Let's take an inhale. Just think of sending your hips a little bit closer to that right heel on the exhale. And then one more breath in. We're gonna reverse our way out of this. So fingertips down to the mat. You tuck the back toes under. Now you're powering off of that big back foot. Take a big step forward, finding your forward fold. Let's once again come into our halfway lift. So L shape with the body, press the palms to the shins, lengthen through the top of your head, and then fold it right back down. This time we'll step the right foot back along on our mat, give it a little scooch. And as you find your position, go ahead and lower that knee down, setting up for Anjali Asana. So again, you can stay here. This might be where you are for today, no worries. If you're ready for more, you can walk the hands up onto the thigh, making sure you're sending your energy forward through the hips, but rocking those shoulders all the way back. Next step here, reaching those arms up and overhead. Finding that lengthening action all the way from the fingertips through the tailbone. Let's take a full inhale. Send your hips further forward with the exhale. You have one more breath here. In, and then hands down to the mat. We reverse the way forward on the exhale. Toes tuck. Big step all the way to the top. Halfway lift. You breathe in, and then fold forward. Exhale. Soften through the knees. Slowly roll all the way up through the spine. Let your arms stay hanging by your hips. Notice if you're holding some tension through the shoulders. Let's take a big shrug. So rolling the shoulders all the way forward and then dropping them down the back. And again, lifting all the way up and pressing down. Go ahead and reverse this action. So roll the shoulders back and then pour them up and over. One more time. And down. Let's just bring the hands into heart center. We're going to take our vinyasa variation for today. So you're going to inhale, reach your arms overhead, take that back bend, and then exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift to breathe in, and then high plank with our exhale. So this is our first time into a high plank. You're just going to step your feet back along the mat. So hands are shoulder width, feet are hip width. Dip your hips into alignment. So one long line from the top of your head to your heels. Now this is where that strength aspect really comes into the practice. Hold it here. Let's keep it here for 5, 4, 3, 2. Now on 1, I just want you to drop your knees down to the mat so we come into a modified plank position. Now our variation of chaturanga for today, we are going to bend through our elbows, hug them into the rib cage, and lower your entire body down to the mat. We're taking a cobra pose from here. So feet stay hip width. You just lift your chest up and look forward. Think of shrugging those shoulders together, finding a nice heart opener here. We're going to take a variation of child's pose. So press into your hands. This time, everybody bring your knees all the way together. So as your knees come together, rest your forehead to the mat. And then we're going to find a nice big release through the upper body, just sweeping your hands back by your heels. Let your shoulders cave down to the mat. Total rest here. Tune back into the rhythm of your breath. Reconnect if necessary. Let's take a full breath in and a breath out. Just walking our hands beneath of our shoulders, gently pressing yourself up to a seat. We're just going to adjust onto our mat, so we're coming onto our backs. And as you come onto your backs, we want to hug the knees into the chest. Rolling right on down, drawing those thighs in, wrapping your hands along the shins, just giving a nice squeeze in. Making sure that the chin is not jutting upward, so soft tuck towards the chest, so you're lengthening through the entire line. Maybe you take a little rock from side to side. From here, we're just going to place our feet flat to the mat, about hip width distance apart. So remember that hip width distance setting we worked into earlier. Notice if your knees are really far apart, bring them a little closer in. Hands down by the hips. Now just lift your right leg enough. Flex this right foot a lot, so toes pull back to the shin. We're creating a figure 4 shape, so right ankle is going to cross over your left thigh. Now as you take this, you might already feel a nice stretch into your right hip. That's perfect. You can stay here, just letting the knee fall open. If you'd like a little bit more, you can take your right hand, press it into that inner thigh, and send the knee further away. Just starting to open up through the hips, that place that we carry so much of our tension. You might find that you have a good deal of flexibility here. If that's the case, moving on, you'll pick the left foot up. You're going to take your hands, thread them in between the legs, interlacing the hands behind your left hamstring. Now to keep safe through the knees, make sure both feet remain flexed the entire time, and then just guiding the legs in a little bit closer to your body. Let's take a full breath in. Wherever you are, just find a little more stretch with your exhale. And then slowly we'll reverse our way out of this. So left foot to the mat, right foot to the mat. You might kind of just windshield wipe your knees from side to side briefly here, just to kind of release that stretch. And then we'll take this directly into the opposite side. So feet are down, hands by hips, long back of the neck. Lifting your left foot leg up enough, flex firmly, and then cross ankle over thigh. Now, something that we often kind of force our bodies into that we shouldn't is trying to create and replicate what we did on one side. Notice if you feel any different on this one, maybe a little tighter, maybe you feel you have a little more space, just work into where you are at this exact moment. So you can stay, you can press the hand into the leg, sending the knee a little further away. Again, if you have a lot of openness, picking up that leg, reaching the fingers through to interlace behind the hamstring, flexing through both feet and hugging the leg in. Make sure you're using your breath here. Even as we're down on the mat, we really want to stay with that strong, steady flow. Let's take one more big breath in. Find a little more stretch with your exhale. And then just releasing out of this. So slowly bringing that right foot down to the mat, left foot down to the mat. And then windshield wide, just letting that go. We're going to find one more really gentle hip opening. So Supta Baddha Konasana, you stay on your back. Just bring the soles of your feet together. Let your knees fall apart. And then draw one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. Now close your eyes here. Feeling a nice stretch into those inner thighs. Try and release any clenching going on through your body. We're really just resting onto our mat now. Let's take a big breath in through the nose and open the mouth, let it go. And then slowly releasing the hands down by your hips, palms will shine up. Go ahead and stretch your legs out long and wide upon your mat. Feeling the heaviness of the physical body at this point, the ability to relax in a little more peaceful of manner. At the same time, that energetic lift through the heart. We find our final posture of the practice, Shavasana. And this pose is really beneficial to soaking up every last bit of your practice, your movement, your breath, your freedom in the mind. So you can stay as long as you would like. If you are ready to move, you can slowly wiggle the fingers, the toes. Maybe eventually you lift however feels intuitive to you into an easy seat, whatever that looks like. It'll be a bit different for each and every one of us. Wherever you do land, let's just take one more round of breath. So a nice big inhale through the nose. And then open the mouth, let it go. I thank you all so much for practicing. This was our intro to Vinyasa, and we will be expanding on this. So I look forward to moving into this practice with you even more in future videos. Have a wonderful rest of your day.